that's why those things stay over here. These things, like that, go here. That there belongs with those, not these. Those should not go there on top of this. There. There. Those go here like these. Here. That was Sorted. The poem Sorted by Bruce Whitaker. Why do you like that one? It's in our house zine, which we're going to spend the next hour talking about.
Why do I like that one? It's funny, it's playful, it's kind of, there's like a house being this kind of wondrous place that's full of like strange corridors, and then there's poems like this that show like kind of just like a silly absurdity about houses. It's just like there's always these little tasks you have to do, and they're endless, and they're always going here, and you're just this like
domesticity, like down to magnifying glass of minuscule details.
So it makes me laugh and brings some realism to the magical house scene.
Mm-hmm. So we made a house zine.
You did.
And it's gold, if you can't tell.
And it doesn't come with these beautiful bookmarks.
And we finished it wondering if we'd really made the point of this autumn issue clear, maybe to ourselves even. So we want to hang out with each other and with the zine for a while and talk about what we thought we were doing and what we tried to do and how it went. And you chose the theme of house for autumn.
Yeah.
Not home, not dream house.
Yeah.
But
you really
house.
wanted me to pick some kind of specific.
I wanted something like dream house.
Yeah. And I was really into the idea of like there's a empty foundation for a house, and it's like this blank space in front of or behind the word house, and everyone would fill that in with their own adjectives and things, and we would suddenly have a million different kinds of houses.
Like a dream house, or
A
dad's
doll's
house.
a party house.
Yeah.
A whore house. A dog house.
A haunted house.
I'm running out of a brick house. Public house. A coffee house.
A bow house?
Oh, interesting. An art house. Yeah, so that's the idea to begin with.
And in what we were trying to make with it, a lot of the House of Leaves book went into it.
Yeah, Alex gave me House of Leaves like last spring, I think. Oh, it was after I made the romantic zine.
Yeah.
And he has this little note that says, "Enjoy House of Leaves, aka things zines can do." And
this book just has a zillion different ideas of how the printed type can appear on a page.
All over the page in weird angles and like, I don't know.
Yeah, you just have like one line and then a vertical line of font size 4 little brackets. Like, it's very experimental.
Upside down and just getting creative and conceptual with how you're arranging things on a page to communicate the point.
Yeah, and the poem Sorted that we opened with, I made like a box on the page.
Yeah.
Like a kind of spiral box of random instructions from the poem. Mm-hmm. So House of Leaves was one thing like, you should talk about what you were trying to do with the zine. Sounds like you just knew it was a good prompt because it could be so many different kinds of houses.
Yeah, I think after Beauties and Beasts, that was such a, like, very, very specific kind of plot to engage with.
The summer zine was Beauties and Beasts, and that's like two polarities of kinds of stories, but it was all basically the Beauty and the Beast as the theme for summer.
Yeah, and so house could go in so many different directions, and it's even actually funny to bring up House of Leaves, because for me, I was just thinking of like a Narnia house. Like, that's like the doorway that opens up is going somewhere like wonderful and magical. But yeah, that being the point that like every doorway opens to a different story. And
the house that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. That was like a major key concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I took off from your idea to try and think of House of Leaves type things for the book. In the outset, I was trying to think of different ways to make the zine itself like a house and have different corridors.
Yeah.
And maybe even choose your own adventure type page turning where it doesn't, you have to like, you wouldn't necessarily finish the story linearly by turning pages left to right. You'd have to like refer to the floor plan and like find the rest of the story deeper in the house, and time constraints just put that idea to bed. But
yeah, it's definitely a charming idea, and part of my resistance to that is I hate when a magazine is like, finish this story at the back of and it messes up your flow.
Of course. Yeah, what we did manage to get in there is the table of contents, which is a floor plan. And that was me.
Yes, good job.
Yeah, and as for the rest of it, in terms of being more experimental, it's just a really good zine is what it comes down to. Not very experimental at the end of the day. But it's beautiful. And
I feel it's not very experimental. Like the egg zine was probably like the most experimental thing that we've done.
Yes, the zine shaped like an egg.
Yeah, but this is like definitely the highest quality content and the most of it, I think.
Yes, tons more stories and poems.
Yeah, twice as much
before.
as a usual season.
Yeah, and it came out beautifully, and you were really happy with the cover of Beauties and Beasts, so you were trying to outdo yourself the entire time, and you definitely freaked out about it. And but you made this cover with watercolor, and it turned out amazing. And the inspiration, of course, is Persian miniature paintings, but was there anything about Persian miniature paintings as a concept, or was it purely an aesthetic thing?
Persian miniatures are illustrations for usually like the Quran, and the way that it looks on the page often is like, it looks like it's kind of coming out of the text on the side there. And then the things that they do with dimensions are really strange and weird, and I've like used like the same basic lines to communicate this but it's so much cooler in the actual ones. So they like have a doorway, and like this looks like the wall, but suddenly it becomes like the room that everyone's in, so it's like you can see through walls. And the way that like a hallway is depicted, it's like they're both showing the outside and the inside of structures at the same time.
Yeah.
And then they'll have like the frame of the whole house and the whole picture even, but then they'll have like a piece of paper that's like coming off of the entire painting and like adding another little like structure or box right there.
Yeah.
And so in the same way that sacred texts will be annotated, like these images are almost doing the same thing with the structures of the buildings.
Like it's imagistically annotated and has added on wings and stuff.
Yeah. And so like all those annotations I think are just perfectly reflected by those images. And yeah, that's the spirit of the house zine. So that was exciting to figure out that idea.
Yeah, and personally I was just in playing with personal themes of a dream house for like a year or 2 years prior. And I talk about it in my letter from the editor at the front of the zine, that I was using a emotional binary to contextualize a lot of my emotional and artistic experiences, that there was a haunted house world of experiences and a sunlit, beautiful home world of experiences, that like a lot of my dreams were taking place in one house or the other. And I was using that as some kind of artistic, psychological tool set anyway. And I felt kind of like done with that and was moving on to other things. And then he wanted to do this theme. So I didn't like have then a resurgence of that whole like era of experiences, but I did like have an easy reference in my mind to use to make my pieces, because I'd been like living in my correlation of that theme for so long anyway.
Yeah, I've always had house dreams. Became pretty significant when I was in high school. I remember like it started becoming like, oh yeah, that plot line specifically of that house is developing. I suppose I knew this would happen, but I started having like a ton of house dreams again, and crazier than ever. For this theme, autumn. Yeah. And that was amazing. Yeah, the idea of the zine is a house, and every page you flip through, it's like you're walking through the house, and there's these different rooms that you're walking into. And those are all the different stories that the house is containing, these different characters. But also, I liked this idea that, yeah, the house is shape-shifting and like time traveling and like geolocating or something. And so next time, if I could have done this, I would have made like a bunch of different images of the houses in all of these stories, where it's like the same scale on the page that the house is for all of the images, but it's like different houses and different environments of those houses to reflect each of the stories, and somehow creating the impression that it like is the same like soul inside the house, even though it's showing up differently.
Yeah, the house is the same. Yeah. And it has like different clothes. Yeah. For every story. Yeah. Because that's what you've said, that's what your dreams feel like. They're all different in different settings, but you can tell in your dream kind of way that it's all the same house. Yeah. And how it turned out, I think I was actually really surprised at how much poetry we got for this theme. Right. Because we were both thinking it would be stories. Yeah. But the poems were awesome. Yeah. I loved it.
I always kind of feel this way, but this season more than ever, I feel that like even a lot of things we chose not to publish were like so good, and
Yeah.
I feel like amazed by that.
Yeah. Well, it's starting, the presentation, I think, is starting to get better that we present on social media. So people are submission people are starting to
like respond to that
and make better stuff to make sure they make the cut.
Just that some of the color printing is still not what I want it to be, and figuring out how to, the art can look so good on the website and so bad when we print it, and
well, I mean, see, it's even varies from image to image.
Yes, right.
Because like a lot of them came out amazing.
Yeah, and Austin's looks so good.
Austin Hart's image or his painting in this one looks so good.
Yeah.
And then other ones, some of them come out amazing and some of them come out really bad, like within the same zine.
Exactly, yeah.
But on the whole, all the full color stuff we do like tends to come out really good.
Yeah. Yeah, the like Devil on the Couch one came out really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this pair of poems is a diptych that I did called Open/Close. And the house opens, the house closes. It's an emotional thing. And they're two separate poems. Jade arranged them to be by themselves or get mixed together. And so we're gonna experiment right now, and Jade's gonna perform My House Opened Today. And I'm going to perform My House Closed Today. But performing them together will theoretically make a third poem.
Yeah. My house opened today.
My house closed today.
The carpet was glittering.
The living room rearranged itself in advance warning.
The closet expanded twice in size.
A tunnel opened beneath the kitchen sink to the forest.
My bedroom was made intimate, filled.
The walls and ceiling drew in towards each other for warmth.
With a blend of sunlight and your scent.
The cat escapes with a yelp down the tunnel.
When I enter the dreaming room,
I am pressed in towards my own heart,
sending a greeting via electricity.
With the pressure of a black hole.
The breath of sun through glass lulls me to the long sleep.
Reminding me of the room we painted all black with gold, and underground railroad of freed demons and hopeful poets has been established beneath the kitchen sink.
At night, my house reached for the stars.
But the home has my heart.
Stacking room on top of room.
I will not leave.
Until it looked like an old wizard's ivory tower.
The walls press in and become my skin.
I'm a dreamer now. I ascend floor by floor.
I shout and heave to force air through my house body.
By the light of a full moon.
I can breathe with limbs of insulation and stucco.
An old man when I reach the top.
I walk, slow as the moon, through the inner unknown.
Fit only now for admiring my collection of precious gems.
Illuminating the void.
And writing down each of their stories.
With one experience, then another, then another. That was cool.
That was cool.
Did it have to change much when you were making it work like that?
I just had to, change a few ends of lines and the spacing, but it was so simple, yeah.
Well, obviously I like these poems a lot because I made them.
You're actually kind of unusual in that way. You love what you make. Most people.
Well, you don't see all the things I make that I don't love.
Well, yeah, I love these poems too. I think obviously it perfectly encapsulates the possible duality of the theme. I think what I love most about it is that when the house closes, it just opens up in another way with the Underground Railroad.
And visually it's a diptych. It's the two poems just displayed side by side. And I was ripping off of, I think her name's Yeonmi. I don't remember anymore. A Korean name that made Beauty and the Beast a diptych pair of poems.
That was great.
Where the Beauty poem was on the left page and the Beast poem was on the right page.
Yeah. Diptychs are so cool for zines. That's like something she showed us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was an effective enough poem that we opened the zine with that one at the very beginning. So I was using that, and I was using my own haunted house / sunlit home duality to show my own single bedroom apartment, and just show how different it can be based on my mood. And nothing physical could change about it.
I had a lot of favorites from this season. The Wall was a really exciting story. I was like thrilled to explain to you why it was so amazing and to talk about it over and over and over for weeks.
Yeah.
The Purple Adobe House is another really beautiful one. I think we can talk about like the haunted house and the sunlit house, and I think this fits into the sunlit house category for sure.
Definitely.
But it's so specific to itself and like such a unique personality in this one, and I can completely see it and feel it in all the textures and like the kinds of activities going on there and what a day feels like there. So it's not just a sunlit house, but it's like this very specific one, and I could live in it. So this is Poem for the Purple Adobe House by Meg Rumsey Lasserson. O sister of mine, hiding how many rooms, I imagine you, prism threaded on fishing line in every window. Someday I will enter through the side gate, a persimmon in each palm, peace offering to the future. Silent sibling painted sentinel, how rich the soil under your lintels, how cool and dark your wine cellars, how riotous your heliotrope. I pass by again the patient steps of ritual, waiting for your quiet welcome, the day when the door swings wide and the threshold beats like a heart under my feet. I go to sleep with persimmons in my hands, smooth golden promises of our unborn bond.
Our unborn bond like makes me think, okay, is this a house she walks by every day and wishes she could live in? But it seems like she's like very familiar with it. It's the poem of a house, a homeowner is what it comes across as, that lives there, but at the end it seems like, oh, I just like walk by this house and dream about it.
Yeah, unborn bond, makes me think of the intimacy is so real. I have to, it's more interesting for me to believe it's real, but it makes me think of like, it's like not your parents' home that they own, like maybe it's like a rental, or maybe it's like aunt and uncle's house, and it's like this like very beloved thing, but not forever.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a couple poems from Christina Lambert
Oh, yeah.
that together are pretty cool. She published a poem in Beauties and Beasts as well. Was that Yesterday's Delight? Is that what it was called?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yesterday's Delight, like, grows teeth and becomes super savage.
Yeah, beastly poem, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And we published 2 much longer ones from her this time. Underneath by Christina Lambert. The mouth of the woods is choked with briars and weeds, but strange flowers guide me down a wild path where fairy houses hide the doors that connect to everything. Caution couldn't stop me before I turned the handle. The stairs hum below my feet. Underneath, things are more complicated, better than anticipated. I travel through rivers and veins, into scarred caves and tunnels. The cracks in the walls are sealed with sound that leads me through the depths. Sunrise paints a blurry picture. The wind tells me I can't stay, but the world within worlds can't be unseen.
The Door by Christina Lambert. Tension grows wild, inconvenient and ignored in an unseen corner. But in sleep, a door opens in the darkness. Wishes and wants granted in dreams with no boundaries. Undeniable need races wild. Electricity hums, veins pulse and beg. Phantom hands wrap around thickness pulling tight. The threads of thoughts long denied deeper into the night. We all become who we are.
Yeah, you can picture some like super basic cookie cutter house, like the house set in Atomas, and she's pointing out with the door that every house becomes this mysterious wild house when someone starts sleeping and dreaming inside of it.
Yeah, well, in sleep, a door opens in the darkness. I think the scariest thing about the entire book of House of Leaves is just they get home and nothing is visually like different except there's just a door that wasn't there before. But it's like everything appears to be as they left it and there's no evidence that anyone's been there. That's just the scariest thing ever. And yeah, it takes like this entire book to work that out, but she's done it in this page. Yeah. So for the Beauties and Beasts zine, I was like, well, for that season, I was like, felt like I had this really clear idea of what I was trying to communicate, but I knew what the like end goal was, and the process of creating it was really like, it felt like I was trying to engineer this thing that I could see. And so I wanted to break from that kind of effort. And it just happened really naturally because I just started having these strange house dreams as soon as I was thinking about houses enough. And I mean, I had so many house dreams this season, like crazy, crazy ones, and way more than what we published. But the invasion started off
a short story she put in this zine
as a dream, and for all of them I had to kind of just write down the dream and then turn that into something a little more literary, and then give it an ending, because they would just be like these strange, weird seeds going nowhere. And so coming up with an ending and working that out was interesting. But that's what the invasion is doing like the door is like suddenly a portal opens up.
Yeah.
And why and how is completely mysterious, and it's not even like a question of where it comes from, or like there are no answers. It's just like, what are you gonna do about that problem? Like, you have to deal with this. So
your world's changed in a very intimate, interior way. Like your house has been opened. And you were trying to communicate just the undeniable reality of change and adjusting to it, or denying it, or growing because of it, or...
Yeah, and the funny thing about the invasion is like...
just how it ends.
Yeah, like it's
kind of a mix of all...
into a crazy person.
You kind of do
like a
all...
bird lady.
You kind of choose every reaction at once.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
It ends in like an ellipsis that kind of like spirals.
Yeah, I think
like
it's fun. I like
spiraling
it.
ellipsis. As dreams do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so how did it affect us personally?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's the last, yeah. Yeah, both our houses got way cleaner.
It's true.
And much warmer in their like vibe to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, so you helped me hang up some things in my hallway. That was really nice of you.
Yeah.
And then how did your house change?
You rearranged the living room.
Yeah.
You rearranged the bedroom. You told me what colors everything had to be. And so the whole place got painted. And feels really warm and nice now.
Good. Yeah.
Well, everything in your house is kind of constantly being fucked with.
Yeah, it's true.
But there was definitely a marked increase of hominess.
Yeah.
That you are always mentioning, of how much you love it here, and a lot more after this season. It's probably unique about us to whoever's watching this, that both of us live alone.
Right.
And so we get, like, if you don't live alone, I mean, with roommates more than with a family, you don't really get to claim your house as much.
Yeah.
It's this shared space that you're only partly responsible for any given aspect of how it is. But both of us have the opportunity and the like weighty responsibility of, if there's anything wrong with either of our homes, there isn't anyone to blame except ourselves.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, when it's a house you share, in my experience, there's this feeling of like, well, partly like, oh, I'm only going to be here for so long. So first of all, just like the lack of a lot of investment, and also like, well, I don't know what everyone else will like think of this design choice, or like, I'm not going to like put my nice furniture in this room where like it's all shared and you don't know what's going to happen to it or something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like just having more control. I learned so much about myself from living alone.
Yes.
But also, I think one of the things that I discovered is like, if I'm lazy, I will not put effort into my house, but like deciding that really matters is a way of like keeping me healthy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, your house, especially if you live alone, it's this fantastic mirror that shows you how you're doing.
Yeah.
And then gives you a practical, physical way to improve how you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
But most people listening have a bedroom, so you can at least make your bedroom cleaner. Hashtag Jordan Peterson.
Well, and when you live with roommates, you really can
of course,
do your part of it, and everyone feels it and appreciates it, and that can also be a really beautiful collaborative project. That's painting this room that kind of became like the dance hall when I lived with some girls. Doing that together was so wonderful, and then the continual process of okay, here's a mirror on this wall. Now we're gonna take that down and now hang up this giant fan thing, and changing things out. It can be. I mean, it's just a representation of a collective experience and
a conversation you guys are all having.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're at the end then, and that's the next theme of treasure hunt is the winter theme. And we were thinking for a week or two of what to do, and we were stewing over vision as a concept and receiving visions or projecting your vision.
Yeah.
And it's what?
No, I'm just laughing at all the different things I've thought were that's definitely the theme for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was
then
a frustrating process to try to figure it out.
Yes, and then treasure hunt was the last idea.
Yeah, and it just finally was yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And that was kind of beautiful clarity.
And I'm not even sure it put together any of our cloud of thoughts.
No.
It just was a different one.
Yeah, that was better than all of them for me.
That was better. Yeah.
And was way more exciting. And I think part of the reason I'm excited about the treasure hunt theme is just because it's felt the past few themes have kind of had a heaviness, and I'm excited for this to be fully playful and explorative and yeah.
I'm sure there will be a lot of
I'm sure there will be too, and I welcome it, and you
submissions.
should submit whatever, but just
this will be
for me. This is good for me. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and Treasure Island.
Yeah, Nancy Drew.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Cool, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting and buying the zines, and get your Mandarin lighters.
Yeah, we have Zippos.
You can do tricks with them,
with a Mandarin on the Zippo.